What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV Daily Rewind. This is where we go back a week and give you the past 7 days of tech news videos in one single video. This was an amazing week. We talk about Samsung's new Galaxy Ring that's coming out. We talk about the Galaxy S24 Ultra. We talk about One UI 6. We talked about hypothetically, if Samsung brings back the action button like the iPhone 15 Pro Max has, talk about the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and much, much more. Enjoy this week, and we'll see you in the next one. First story of the day is because Apple's event is tomorrow, launching the new iPhone 15s. Let's talk about the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max and what to expect spec-wise from these very, very powerful smartphones. So here we go, guys. They're looking at 6.1 and 6.7 inch displays, 120 hertz Pro Motion display refresh rate on both. It will still have that dynamic island that everyone loves, right? Thinner bezels, which is always a nice thing, so you'll have more screen, or at least it'll feel like you have some more screen. Titanium frame around the whole entire phone. An action button which will replace the mute switch. So if you love that mute switch, that is gone, and now you have an action button that you'll be able to customize to do, I guess, multiple things, to be able to open up an app or mute the phone or do something else on there. It'll have the A17 chip, so it'll probably still remain to be the most powerful processor in all the land. 8 gigabytes of RAM, which does not sound like a lot, but with an iPhone, it's definitely plenty. Periscope lens, up to 6x zoom only on the Pro Max. USB-C port, I'm excited about this one. I won't have to continually find different chargers for my iPhone that I have. So yeah, USB-C port would be nice. Braided color matched USB-C cable is included inside of the box. Colors will be space black, silver, Titan gray, and dark blue. Storage will be 128, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte, possibly a 2 terabyte version as well. And a $100 price increase, possibly only for the Pro Max. Again, these will be launched tomorrow, and then the pre-order date will probably be Friday, and then it'll be released the following Friday. This isn't anything crazy, but I thought it'd be cool to share, is that, and I guess this doesn't happen a lot, which is kind of surprising, but in South Korea, Samsung has secured the names for the Galaxy Z Fold 6 and the Galaxy Z Fold 7. So if you were curious what the next generation of Z Fold phones would be called, 6 and 7 will be their names. Now, I would love to show you the images in this. I just feel like it's going to get copyright strike, so I'm not going to show it. And it's not terribly exciting, but Galaxy Buds FE will be coming. There's official photos and manual photos, really, showing off the Buds. They're very similar to like Galaxy Buds 2s. They look really similar to that, but Galaxy Buds FE. So what can you expect with that? Well, you can expect most likely cheaper price, but very similar features across the board. Just not like if you'd compare these to like Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, you'd most likely be like, they don't sound as good, but maybe you don't need all of that great sound. You just want something with a better price that has a lot of features built into it. This would be something that you'd probably be interested in. And as you can see from this headline, Ice Universe has put out a tweet saying that at the S24 launch in January, that's right, so we should see a early release like we mentioned yesterday for the S24. The Smart Ring should be a star product, and that's right. Looks like the S24 launch will include the Samsung Galaxy Smart Ring, which we have spoken about before, and that's what it will look like. And that Smart Ring should do a lot of health things and track your sleeping, probably have amazing battery life because it doesn't look like there's a display on it, so it's probably gonna last. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing lasts a month or something, or maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something crazy more so versus than what you'd see on a watch. It'd be nice if it had some kind of notification filter in there, so it would at least vibrate and let you know what's going on. So I assume there'll probably be some kind of slight vibration motor built into it. The sizing is always weird with these things. Like, is it gonna be able to be auto-adjusted sized, or is it going to be something that you have to get that specific size, and if you outgrow it, you're SOL, or who knows? But it's definitely supposed to be a very star product when the S24 launches in January. Let me know. You can see I'm holding up the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I have One UI 6 on this. It's still in beta. We've had 2 updates thus far, so we're not at the final road of this, but people complain, me myself too, complain about the animations with Samsung. Now, Samsung phones still feel fast. They don't feel laggy, but they don't feel like the smoothest phones that you can get. Sometimes you get a little tripped up in an animation ever so much, or it just doesn't feel as fast as some of these other Android phones on the market because the animations are just so smooth, so fluid, so fast. And Samsung phones haven't fully been there. Well, it looks like that's about to change in a big way because of the One UI 6 update. The information that's coming out is coming from Tarun, and Tarun's saying that Samsung will improve One UI 6 animations. Animation Manager confirmed that it will be revised and updated after the beta is completed. Samsung is committed to providing better and more diverse values, and he pulls this from what that person said. The moderator is saying, hello, I'm in charge of your animation. First of all, thank you for your animation related suggestions. The part you asked about is currently under the continuous review and will be revised and updated after the beta is completed. We ask for your continued interest in animation, and we will do our best to provide better and more diverse values. And Animation Manager, you can see on the left is a whole thing about One UI 5.1 and 6 that I think Tarun wrote, I believe, or somebody else wrote, or maybe the guy wrote. But ultimately, this is great news. And, you know, again, don't get me wrong, Samsung phones aren't slow, but there's something to be said when you go from some of these other Android phones and you come back here and you're like, you know what, for some reason the Samsung phone just doesn't feel as fluid. And I am super stoked about this because I love Samsung phones. I'm not currently using one as my main phone, but that's one of the things that I want the Samsung phones to improve upon is animation. So I'm super stoked about it. Basically, animations is everything just using the phone, you know, when you're swiping, when you're using it, when you're going through an app, going away from an app, things like that. That's what we're talking about. So this should be, again, after the beta. I don't know if it's going to be the official release or like a couple of updates after that, but it sounds like it's going to come fairly soon. So keep your eyes peeled to better, smoother, faster animations with One UI 6 phones. Today's story is about should Samsung bring back their action button, their Bixby button, because the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max now have an action button. They got rid of the mute button on the side here, the volume, you know, so you could mute things, the sounds of your phone, and they now have an action button. The action button will allow you to do a plethora of things. Here's a little video that I found on Twitter from this guy. You can change it from focus to camera to flashlight and some other things, shortcuts, things like that. You can really add a lot of functionality into that. And I think ultimately it's going to be a really, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not a new button to phones. Android phones have had it, Galaxy phones have had it. There's a lot of inexpensive phones that still have buttons like these. I've covered them recently. But as you know, when Apple does things, sometimes we either Android phones will revert back to doing those things again, or they'll begin doing those things if they haven't ever. And I have to think that if Apple's doing an action button, that there's a good probability that Samsung will go back to giving us an action button again. And it makes me wonder, would I want that? And is it even worth it at this point? Because the nice thing with Android, at least Galaxy, actually any phone, but Galaxy phones as well, is that when you double press the power button, you can open up the camera. Now, you might want a dedicated action button like you can on the iPhone, because iPhones can't double press the power button going into the camera. It's one of the best things I love about Android is double pressing that power button and going into the camera. But to add on to that, what would I use the action button for if it was on a Galaxy phone, for instance? Well, I mean, you had the Bixby button and there was like hacks you could do so that you could do basically anything you want, from long pressing it and it would turn on your flashlight, or double pressing it and it would open up your camera or your browser or your flashlight or something like that. There's a multitude of things. And obviously if we had that Bixby button or action button, whatever Samsung would want to call it, then it would make more sense, you know, and so that we didn't have to hack it. And just anybody could go into the settings like you can on an iPhone and customize it to our wants and needs. And I have to admit, I definitely wouldn't not want it. If they came back with it, I definitely wouldn't want it to be a dedicated Bixby button or a dedicated Google Assistant button. I'd want it to be a button that I personally can customize and change it to something that I personally want. And I think that's important to have. So I'm all in for it. I hope Samsung does bring it back. I wouldn't think any less of them if they did and they quote copied Apple on this instance because Apple's has it and Samsung doesn't. And I don't think Samsung's had it since I was looking back in the news. I think it was Galaxy S10 or something like that is the last time they had it, which is a really long time ago. So first story of the day has to do with the Samsung Galaxy Ring, guys. That ring, remember, will be some kind of smart ring that tracks your circadian rhythms and your sleep and probably your fitness and your heart rate and your oxygen levels and who knows what else. Maybe it'll give you notifications, maybe it'll vibrate a little, maybe it'll give you a little ding ding ding. Who knows what it's going to do. It's going to allow it to do a lot of stuff, you would assume, because it's a Samsung product. But when is it going to be coming out? Well, we assume it's going to be coming out in January with the launch of the Samsung Galaxy S24 phones, but it might come out sooner than that because the latest information that is leaking out is that in the latest Galaxy wearable app, the one that's over in Korea, is that they're actually, and I don't want to show it just because who knows if Samsung will strike me, but you can click on the link down below to see it. It says, while Galaxy Ring is coming, Korean users have examined the files of the Galaxy wearable app and found an icon. It seems the release of the Galaxy Ring is not far away. So, could we see this in October, as a launch, like a kind of a smaller device to launch so that people can buy it for the holidays? That would not surprise me whatsoever because of the fact that it's always nice for companies to have something going into the holidays that's not too expensive that people can get as a main gift or a side gift. So we'll see what this happens. We'll see if it comes out earlier than that January, February timeframe, or if it comes out in the next month or so. So we'll keep our eyes peeled. I'll let you guys know more information as it comes out. Next up is all about this phone right here, the Galaxy S23 phone. This is the 23 Ultra. But the newest beta 3 update is out for this phone. I just got it downloaded and installed. It came out like really early this morning and I just got it downloaded and installed. One thing I've noticed, and nothing huge, but it feels a little bit, not laggy, but a little bit, the animations aren't feeling great right this moment. Maybe it's because it was just installed and all that stuff. But yeah, let's talk about exactly what has been fixed and what's remaining to be needing to get fixed. So here's the information. This is the official change log out from Samsung, and they're saying that new features, video player, enhanced layout. Video player controls are now easier than ever. Buttons with similar functions have been grouped together, and the play button has been moved to the center of the screen. Enhanced playback speed controls choose between several video playback speeds between 2.5x and 2.0x. Speed controls are now easier to access with dedicated buttons instead of a slider. Bugs that have been fixed: improved One UI home crash, improved sometimes stop problem when switching home screen using app, fixed Bixby call error in certain situations, improved sometimes stop problem when pressing long on the home screen, improved the app termination problem when entering camera video mode, improved the problem when Samsung Pay is not executed with the swipe gesture, automatic restart of device care, add manual setting menu for scheduled restarts, improved the shape of notification icons and text, fixed the notification of bar color errors when running apps on decks, fixed, and that was an issue, fixed the problem that the routine does not work in when you receive a message condition. They also have their known issues, which said after updating One UI 6, the installation of the Kids app is not possible. It'll be possible in mid-September. Onboarding failure occurs when login is restarted after Samsung Pass and initialization and Samsung account logout. Voice recognition error, answer the phone while receiving the phone call. It seems like that doesn't work still. Google Assistant error when swipe up in a specific situation. And again, that's a 1.4 gig update. So it's kind of nice that they're pushing these updates out fairly regular, and I think they usually do 4 betas of this and then they usually release it, if I'm not mistaken. Might be 5 or 6, but we're getting closer and closer. And I know some of the people have said like the emojis look a little crisper and things like that. But yeah, if I notice anything else that's noteworthy, I may make a video and release it tomorrow and show you guys. But so far, I haven't noticed anything personally, but I'll do a little bit of research for you guys. And if I do find some stuff, I will make another video. Your first story of the day is, will the S24 Ultra have that much faster charger and bigger battery? There's been rumors going back and forth. Well, This phone has gone through some certification in China, and we get the answers because of that certification through China. And here's the information. It's saying that don't believe the rumors that the S24 Ultra will adopt 65 watts and 5,500 milliamps. I can confirm that they are false. So you're still going to be looking at 45 watt charging and a 5,000 milliamp battery, which 8 Gen 2 had really good battery life, so wouldn't worry about it that much. And the 8 Gen 3 will probably have just as good, if not better, battery life and definitely better performance. So overall, it's not really a big loss, but it is something that, you know, if you wanted to have charge that phone, especially a lot faster than you could have, it's not happening again for the millionth time in a row, but maybe next year, guys, maybe the year after that, we'll wait and see. Our last story of the day has to do with the processor inside of the Galaxy S24 Ultra, 24 and 24 Plus. We've been hearing rumors that it might have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 across the world. We've heard that it will only be, you know, very small amounts of countries that have the 8 Gen 3 and the rest will get the Exynos 2400. What is the final answer? Well, it looks like the final answer, or more confirmation, however you want to think about it and put it, is that the S24 Ultra definitely uses the Snapdragon regardless of the region. Again, that's for the 24 Ultra only, and the 24 and 24 Plus still have an 8 gig RAM option. While it's not certain whether the 8 gig RAM is only used with 128 gig storage, the 12 gig RAM option definitely exists. So it sounds like the Exynos 2400 will only come to some of the countries that get it anyway, but only for the phones of the 24 and the 24 Plus. If you get the 24 Ultra, regardless of where you live, it will be the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. So I know a lot of you end up buying the better version of that phone, which is the Ultra, the best version. So you should be okay at that point. Of the day is about the Samsung Galaxy Buds FE. These are the fan edition of the Buds. Remember, the fan edition are like, you get like a lot of good stuff, you get some mid-range stuff, but you get a great price. And the Galaxy Buds FE are having a fantastic price, brand new, and they seem like they're gonna have some pretty big sound. The latest information coming out from Roland Quand is that the Galaxy Buds FE will come in the colors of graphite or white. They'll have 12 millimeter AKG tuned speaker, and they'll come out with a retail price of $99.99. So if you've always wanted Buds, but you wanted to get them at a pretty cheap price, a brand new right off the bat, these are going to be great once the holidays roll around, because these will probably be released most likely in January or February of 2024. But like, once like Christmas rolls around for these things, are probably like $50. I know you can get refurbished or sometimes even brand new like Galaxy Buds Pro 2 for like $120, somewhere in that price range, which is really close to this. I'm not saying these will have better sound, but they're probably gonna have really good sound. I would be surprised if they don't. Samsung Buds are some of my favorite, and I have high hopes for these ones. Next up is all about the Galaxy S24 Ultra versus the S23 Ultra. We've kind of done this video before a little bit, piece by piece, but I wanted to kind of go side by side and talk about, is this enough to upgrade? There's about 7 upgrades so far that we're talking about with the S23 Ultra up to the 24 Ultra, at least 7 things you might be impressed with. So let's kind of roll through these. The tweets from the Galax, and he's always got these nice side-by-side comparisons, and I wanted to talk about it. So you're getting that much brighter brightness, 1750 versus 2500 nits of brightness, and that's in the grand scheme of things, that's a big win. Outdoor viewing, any kind of bright setting where you can't really see the phone, or you previously was really hard to see, this is going to make it a lot easier. So very impressed with that. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 to 8 Gen 3, and I know he has the Exynos 2400 in there, but the rumors are saying it's not going to be there, the Exynos 2400. So 8 Gen 2 to 8 Gen 3, I mean, there was a big jump in GPU performance, but day-to-day usage, you probably really won't notice anything. But you know, if you're a gamer, you're definitely gonna get more frames per second at higher resolutions and hopefully less overheating and all that stuff. Not that 8 Gen 2 always overheated, but it should handle that stuff better, being more powerful and be more economical with the battery life and all that stuff. It's supposed to be a crazy processor. Faster performance in the multi-core performance than the new Apple A17 Pro, so that's pretty crazy as well. Camera's getting a slight upgrade from the 200 megapixel HP2 to the 200 megapixel HP2 SX main sensor. I think you're going to see small incremental things. I don't think you're going to see major big differences with the camera, but it's always good to have some kind of upgrade when you get these phones, where you get, because cameras are one of the bigger experiences usually with a phone for most people. Now, the other big of the camera is that it would be going from a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto to a 50 megapixel 3x telephoto. It looks like they're getting rid of the 10x potentially, which has been on the S21 Ultra, 22 Ultra, and 23 Ultra. And this would be a slight downgrade potentially of what we're seeing. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on this one, but yeah, we'll just keep our eyes peeled on that. Aluminum versus titanium frame, I don't think it's going to make a big deal in the grand scheme of things with how we use our phones and hold our phones and all that stuff. Curve versus flat display, I'm on the flat display. You get more size on the phone. It's going to feel like you have a bigger display, so that's always nice to have versus the curved display, but the curve's easier to hold. And then 1 terabyte versus 2 terabyte, potential 2 terabyte max storage on the S24 Ultra. I don't think we're going to see it. We didn't see it in the iPhones. I just don't think Samsung will go that route yet, because I don't even think they sell a lot of the 1 terabyte. So I just don't think they'll end up going that. I could be wrong, but I just don't think we'll end up seeing it. But your story of the day is we know the Galaxy S24 is coming out. It's going to come out in January. But what is going to be the name of its successor? Well, it looks like it's going to be the Galaxy S25. Samsung has registered that name over in Korea, so the S25 will live. They're not going to go to some other number or increment. I don't expect them to potentially change the name of this phone, maybe ever at this point, because now they're just kind of matching up with the year. So they probably won't do it until, S99, or that's a joke, but whatever. Where the name of the S25 will be coming, and it will be coming very, very soon. Now, today is a really short news day, but I wanted to throw this in. Hopefully you have some extra money, because there's some amazing, crazy deals right now on Galaxy phones over at Samsung, but it ends tonight. So you're looking at being able to get the Galaxy S23 Ultra for as low as $299, and if there's tax, sales tax where you are, it'd be a little bit more, but as low as $299 with trade-in. And then also the Galaxy Z Fold 5, you can get for as low as like the $700-ish range plus tax if you have tax where you live, and those are crazy deals. So my father-in-law got the Galaxy S23 Ultra. He's upgrading from his 22 Ultra, and he's being able to get that phone for, again, $299 plus tax. And it's a nice phone. It's like the best phone probably on the Android side, to be honest with you. If it's not, it's in the top 1, 2, 3, somewhere in that, depending upon where you live. Maybe you don't prefer Samsung, but it's an amazing phone. And then also the Galaxy Z Fold 5, they're giving up to $1,200 of trade-in value for certain phones like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, S22 Ultra, I believe, is one of them. Z Fold 4 is definitely one of them. There's tons of phones in there, so if you're looking to get the newest phone, and they're giving storage upgrades on both of those, the 23 Ultra and the Z Fold 5, so you'll be able to get 512 gigabytes on both of those if you want, with no extra cost. So, and then there's like reduced costs on watches and buds that you can get for as low as $49 on those things. So check them out, guys. Everything's linked down below, and if you do shop through that, it helps support what I do. Thanks for watching, guys. Your question of the day is, did you buy anything with the big sale that was going on with Samsung? If you did, let us know what you got in the comments down below. Like I said, I got the S23 Ultra, and I have to admit, the wife is wanting to go back to the Z Fold 5. So we'll see if she ends up doing it. She's sleeping right now, napping, but I told her the deal that's going on, and we'll see if she ends up taking advantage of it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you down the road. Peace.